Let's use the Spanish we've learned. The word the. In Spanish, there are more than one ways to say the word the. The two ways that we have learned so far are el and la. But how do we know which to use? Here's the general rule for beginners. If a noun ends with the letter A or the letters I-O-N, you will use the word la. For example, la tortuga, the turtle, la manzana, the apple, and la televisión, the television. Those words end with the letter A or I-O-N, and therefore we use the word la for the. The other part of the rule is, if the noun ends with any other letter than A, you will use the word el. For example, el caballo, the horse, and el amigo, the friend. Now for the word a. In Spanish, there are more than one ways to say the word a. The two ways that we have learned are un and una. But how do we know which to use? It's very similar to the word the. The general rule for beginners is, if the noun ends with the letter A or the letters I-O-N, you will use the word una for a. Here's an example. Una tortuga, a turtle. Una manzana, an apple. Una televisión, a television. And if a noun ends with any other letter, then you will use the word un. For example, un caballo, a horse, and un amigo, a friend. One common mistake. Sometimes a student will get lazy and just use the word el, or the word la, or the word un, or the word una for every noun, to say whatever he wants. So, here's an example of what not to do. El vaca. To you say the cow, you should say la vaca. Here's another one. El tortuga. Because it ends with the letter A, you should say la tortuga. And el amigo, that is correct. But as you can see, if you just use the same way, el or la, every time, then you're only right maybe half of the time. In this case, 1/3 of the time. Here's an example of the word un. Instead of using un or una, they're just using un, and they say un vaca, which should be una vaca. Un tortuga, which should be una tortuga. And un amigo, which should be, well, which is correct that way. Repeat the following out loud. Tengo un caballo. Tengo un caballo. I have a horse. ¿Tienes una vaca? ¿Tienes una vaca? Do you have a cow? María tiene una tortuga. María tiene una tortuga. Maria has a turtle. Now for the word the. Repeat. Tengo el caballo. Tengo el caballo. I have the horse. ¿Tienes la vaca? ¿Tienes la vaca? Do you have the cow? María tiene la tortuga. María tiene la tortuga. Maria has the turtle.